The truth about the ram has been revealed. What's interesting about this ram is that it just appeared out of nowhere, and obviously it can be found around the volcanic biome. But remember when this volcanic location spawned on the map, the ram wasn't there on the first week. It appeared on the second week of the update. Now this tells us that this ram was actually summoned using some dark magic, because this ram isn't your ordinary animal. This is a demon from the underworld, and you can only summon demons like these by doing this ritual sacrifice, just like what we do at this volcanic location. When we throw these into the volcano, we are rewarded. But who is actually sending this ram and bunch of these rewards that we get? It is the ruler of the underworld. This creature we might get in the future update. More about this ruler of the underworld in just a little bit, but let's talk about the ram. Now we know that the cultists are the one who actually summoned a ram. You see, when these two kids with their parents crash landed on the island, they thought they were lucky to survive this crash. But little did they know, things were about to get very dark.
We are the cultists. Our forefathers found this magical forest over 50 years ago. Ever since then, we have been fulfilling our duties as the protectors of this special place. No one is welcome here, and we like to keep it that way. With the help of the Dark Lord, we have summoned beasts and monsters to keep the visitors away from the woods.
This cultist king and his men are the ones that are controlling this entire part of the woods. Now, I'm not quite sure if these people have been corrupted by the dark magic. Like, are they just a puppet for this Dark Lord? And that is what it feels like, to be honest. Because even though these people used to be just ordinary human beings once, now they have been gifted this dark magic. That's why Cultist King, when he spawns, there is this giant fireball. I think this power was granted to the Cultist King by this ruler of the underworld, and their main job is basically to keep people away from this forest. And one of the ways they do this is by spawning monsters. At first they spawned a deer, and that wasn't enough, so they spawned an owl, and that wasn't enough, and now they have spawned this evil demon. Watch this. That's right, they have summoned a underworld demon, the Ram. That's right, this is a demonic ram from the underworld. Even the description of this ram reads, "In the depths of the volcanic biome."
Something is stirring. The creature is rumored to have a rage that cannot be controlled. Anyone smart will stay far away from it. Even the deer and the owl won't go near it.
That's right, this ram is so dangerous, so evil. Even the monsters like the deer and the owl won't go near it. I mean, the owl is actually missing right now. We don't know exactly what has happened to it. Is it scared? Because we have not seen the owl since the ram arrived. And like I mentioned earlier, the ram showed up when sacrifices were made by the cultists. In fact, if you go to the volcano location, you will see the sign that says the volcano is hungry. But a lot of people don't know this, that this ram is actually based on this mythical god known as Baphomet. In fact, in 1384, a similar event took place. This is known as the Trials of the Knights Templar. This all took place because of this ram god. Hundreds of people were found worshipping a ram god known as Baphomet.
Since this is a Christian country, and worshipping any other religion, especially the dark powers, is against the law. Hence, All these guilty people are to be burnt at the stake before the eyes of everyone, so they know this is not acceptable.
And after this incident, this ram god became very popular. Even till this day, there are people out there who still worship this god. And that is exactly what 99 Nights in the Forest are trying to recreate in the game. These cultists are doing the same thing. Same kind of sacrifices are made in the game. We can find this ritual areas everywhere where you can find wolf bodies, cultist bodies as well. They're obviously doing this ritual to summon creatures and maybe even like magical items. Recently, they have summoned this giant ram. But if the owl, the deer, and the ram are demonic creatures, then why is the owl and the deer scared of the ram? Well, the thing is, even though I said deer and owls were demonic ritual creatures as well, after doing some research, turns out only the ram is the demonic creatures. The two of them are actually...
We are the scientists. It took us years to find this forest after hearing stories. We wanted to see it for ourselves. This forest is fascinating. We have been doing our own experiments, and that's all I can say.
That's right, these scientists has been conducting experiments. You can actually see their labs around the forest. And it's quite obvious that these are science labs and not like a ritual place. They know the cultists are doing these ritual and spawning these monsters, and they wanted to recreate this just to see how things worked. At first, they struggled a lot, and then this happened. That's right, the crashed plane on the map is there for a reason. In fact, it was actually based on a true story. And in the real story, the plane crashed, the kids survived, and the mother survived as well, but she was badly injured. In fact, this real-life story inspired the developer of this game to create 99 Nights in the Forest. What if exactly the same thing happened in the game as well? The kids, as we all know, survived. They're alone. We don't know what happened to their parents. What if the mom was badly injured and was taken away by the scientists, and they conducted their own experiments? They turned her into the deer. And if you go to one of their labs, you can actually see this cage, and there is a giant hole. Maybe the deer was inside of this cage and it escaped. And since the ram is demonic and the deer isn't, tells us that the ram is going to be way more powerful than the deer. That's why I think the deer is scared of the ram. But what about the owl and this king of the underworld who is spawning these monsters? And when is this demon king arriving on the island? I will explain that in the next video, so please subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below your guys' theories.